It's time for another Broken Plane podcast, coming to you from the Podshed in Tigard, Oregon, with your hosts TK and JB.
Welcome to the Broken Plane podcast, season 2, episode 22, week 2 of the regular season. I'm JB.
And I'm TK.
TK, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous.
It is a fantastic day here in Oregon, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because the sun is not shining. We are finally getting some cloudy weather, overcast, a little bit of drizzle.
I saw a lightning strike today.
Oregon sunshine. Beautiful. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
After all the dry weather that we've had, and the air is being kind of, it's the forest fire and the smog and all the dirt in the air, and then now it's the rain's pulling it all out.
Fresh northwest air again.
It's going to be the way it's supposed to, as God intended.
Yes.
That's right. Great week of NFL action. Before we get into it, why don't we start off with Twitter Fan of the Week?
Sure, let's do a Twitter Fan of the Week. This week, Twitter Fan of the Week, Libertatis Sum, at Libertatis_Sum.
Woo!
That is Latin.
What does that mean?
It translates to, I think, if Google didn't fail me, I am for freedom.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Sure.
Liberty.
Libertatis.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sum. All of it. I'm for it.
All of it.
All for it.
Okay.
That's
I'm
right.
in.
I think that's what it is. We're also for that.
I am also for that. Yeah.
I chose this guy. He's a Packers fan. He's a new fan, which I like. And he didn't shut us down when I thanked him on Twitter for it.
I saw somebody blocked us.
Somebody blocked us. Instead of just unfollowing us, they blocked us.
That's fantastic.
We weren't following them, so I don't know.
No, I saw the shout
wanted
out.
to make sure that we would absolutely not be able to shout him out ever again.
And you're like, hey, could go welcome all these people, and it's like, nope. That's fantastic.
Man. But Libertatis Sum.
Packers fan.
Yeah, Packers fan. Had a great week. He appears to be a Spanish speaker, which I like. I think that's cool. So I'm going to attempt to do this for him. We'll see if this works out.
Do it.
Libertatis Sum es un Packer backer y tuvimos que darle los honores después de que los Packers lograron esa gran victoria sobre los Bears. Mantengan las buenos ratos.
You know what? I don't speak a word of Spanish. I think that was close.
I don't either.
I think that was close.
I took French.
Well done.
So we'll see how that went.
Libertatis Sum, if you are out there and listening, let us know how TK did.
Right.
Because I think it's close.
Send us a clip with what I said and do it correctly. And we'll put it on the show. Maybe we can even have you on. We can talk about the Packers.
That'd be great.
Lots of good stuff to talk about with them. Anyway, felicidades. Eres nuestro fan de la semana. No, that was terrible.
That was awesome. So you can catch us on Twitter, The Broken Plane.
Yeah.
Catch us
at the Broken Plane.
That's right, at The Broken Plane.
Don't forget that at %.
Email thebrokenplanepod@gmail.com. Or we're still on YouTube. I haven't actually taken...
I think we should stay up there. We got a couple more subs. Yeah. I think is what they're known in the biz.
As the subs, as they're called. I'm willing to do it, but I'm not going to work as hard at doing the graphics because
that's fine.
It is a painful job.
What if people start commenting? They hear this and they say, well, no, we want the YouTube. JB, give us the YouTube.
If I get a shout-out special to do it, then I'll work on it.
All right. So leave your comments on YouTube.
What I fully expect is silence.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Radio silence.
Or more of, I hate you.
That's... Either one is fine.
Yeah.
Silence or I hate you. They're both the same. Facebook, still not on Facebook. I haven't taken anything down, but I don't plan on updating anything. So
Good.
That'll be fine. Facebook's kind of funny because it's like being kind of passive-aggressive with me now.
Uh-oh.
Like, hey, JB, the fans for the Broken Plane NFL podcast haven't heard from you in a while. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm not updating it.
What fans?
Yeah, nobody's there, Facebook. Nobody's there. Anyway, so that's it. You can get a hold of us. Reach out. Let us know. Before we get into Kwik-E-Newz, and we haven't talked about this, you and I. We probably should give a quick update on the swag.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Great Big Broken Plane Fantasy Football League swag.
We have some coasters.
We do. Everything's
in our
here.
possession. We have a few addresses of the Fantasy Football League participants. We haven't sent anything out yet. We got to go head over to the post office, I think, and check out some shipping options.
What I would like to do is this week I would like to get out the ones that we've got addresses for.
Okay.
Because especially the one that's traveling all the way to Australia, that's gonna take like 3 years to get there.
True.
I want that to get there before
he dies,
or becomes old and forgets about us.
That's true.
Either one is a possibility. or moves to someplace else in Australia. Because you were showing me whereabouts in Australia we're sending this to.
Right.
And it's like away from all of the things in Australia that I'm familiar with.
It is the west coast, the southwest coast of Australia.
And most of the stuff, it turns out I didn't really, I mean, here's what I know about Australia is it's in the southern hemisphere and that's it. But I wasn't aware that a lot of the populated area of Australia is along the southern coast.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
But no, I had no idea. But I really do want to get those things out. So the sooner we get those into the mail,
Definitely.
the better off we're going to be.
If you're listening and you are in the Fantasy Football League and you haven't given us your address and you want them, let us know.
Yes.
We'll be ready to give them to you, but we're not going to keep pestering you.
No.
Because I've already done it a couple of times. Also, if you're listening and you want one of these things and you're not in the Fantasy Football League, you can get one. We'd love to have a reason to send you them.
But you have to give us a reason.
You have to give us a reason, and you have to give us your address. I suppose if somebody just gave us their address and said, give me some, I mean, if you're the first one to do it, that might be good enough for me.
Be enough.
We just get some contact from somebody. But yeah, we'd love to get some, just suggest a topic that you want to hear us talk about. If you want some fantasy football recommendations, give us those. We're really good at those. I think I was like 4 for 8 on unsolicited fantasy recommendations on Twitter this weekend.
Solid.
So that's great.
You were 50%.
Sorry about the Ricky Seals-Jones tips.
You were basically just as good as flipping a coin.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
What are you going to do?
High five.
I did keep some people from playing Doug Baldwin, so that's good.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go to wreck your other knee, Doug. That's fantastic.
Hilarious.
No, not funny at all. Kwik-E-Newz. Let's go. Quick.
All right.
We're going to power through.
Delaney Walker, tight end.
Delaney Walker.
Tight end, Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Broken knee. Not broken, but it's busted.
Yeah.
He's out for the season. That leaves him, what? Okay, what? You don't want to go that fast.
It's out for the season, dislocated and fractured. His ankle.
Yeah.
His ankle.
Ooh.
Yeah. I can't imagine dislocating an ankle.
Oh, hell.
Nope.
That is truly
Not doing
unfortunate.
it. So that leaves him with a second-year tight end, Jonnu Smith, third-round pick last year, and rookie Luke Stalker. Luke Stalker's more of a blocker, blocker, and Jonnu Smith is the receiving tight end, air quotes on that one. Apparently he's got some athletic ability, and he can get into good receiving areas, but his hands aren't the best. He's been labeled a body catcher, which I guess is fine if you're a tight end because you just face your quarterback, catch the ball, and fall down. But most offenses don't want that anymore. They want a guy that can reach out and grab it.
You've got to be able to reach out, because if you can't do that, two things happen. First of all, other people will cut in front of you and take the ball away from you.
You have to be wide open.
And the other thing that can happen is the ball will hit your chest pad and bounce off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not a good thing. We'll see if he's got it.
Yeah, let me give you a little pro tip here for you. You are a skilled position player. Figure it out. Eh?
Or turn...
Sit in front of the jug machine and just catch 100 balls a day. Would you please?
It seems like it would be fun.
Body catching at this level is you know what? Figure it out.
You know what's interesting though?
What's that?
His pre-draft comp was Delaney Walker.
Let's just start.
So maybe he's got a little bit of receiving skill. I don't think Delaney really broke onto the scene as a receiver and a real fantasy weapon until 3 or 4 years ago, and I think he's probably an 8-year guy at this point. So there's still hope for Jonnu Smith yet. Maybe he can come along quicker than some expect.
Maybe could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next up, Keanu Neal, strong safety for the Atlanta Falcons. ACL tear in the first game of the year. That hurts. He's their starter. But I'm optimistic, JB, because they have DeMonte KZ, another strong safety who I think can fill in nicely. He's looked pretty good in limited snaps last year, and he did a pretty good job in the preseason as well. Even made it to Pro Football Focus's defensive team of the preseason this year.
Okay.
At the strong safety position.
All right.
So I think he's got a chance to not hurt this team by coming in and playing big-time snaps.
It's an important position in Atlanta's defense. Well, it's an important position in anybody's defense, but I know the Falcons specifically also. The strong safety is an important position. So it would be good if they could figure that out. It's unfortunate that you need to replace that position this
early. In this new passing league, yes.
Yeah.
The defensive backs are important. I'll let you lead this one.
I don't want to.
Close to your heart.
It hurts my head.
Dougie
Baldwin, wide receiver for the Seahawks, has been battling a knee injury for a long time.
In his left knee.
And this week, he's battling another injury in his right knee.
Oh, boy.
He sprained it. He sprained his right knee in the game, and in the game against the Broncos. So, yeah, he's hobbling around. He's not playing. I think he's out. They ruled him out.
Out for this week.
Yeah.
They say he'll be back sooner rather than later. I'm also hearing grade 2 MCL tear.
And you don't necessarily have to get those operated on. they can heal by themselves. But the thing you got to worry about now is he's got tendonitis in the one knee. He's got a sprain in the other knee. Yeah. At what point do you shut him down? At what point is this just, you know what, take 7 weeks. We'll put you on IR. We'll pull you off whenever I think it's 7 weeks, right? That's the timeline. It almost makes sense to do it that way, especially because Brandon Marshall is on the team. And as he showed in week 1, he is not...
He's got a little something left in the tank.
Yeah, he's not the least capable
at
receiver...
34 years old.
...that the Seahawks have on the roster.
Impressive.
The Seahawks have less capable receivers on the roster.
You know, I think another thing with Doug Baldwin is he's probably favoring the right knee a little bit because of the injury to the left knee. So that might be forcing him to put a little more pressure and strain on what is now the newly injured knee. Than before. So if he tries to come back before that knee is fully healed and favoring the MCL sprain, tear, injury, that can't help.
No, like I said, they should probably look really hard at just shutting him down.
Especially if they lose this next game.
Now, next game, they're traveling to Chicago. Brandon Marshall's going back home.
That's right.
Back to Chicago.
Yeah, the Renaissance Fair, the Brandon Marshall Renaissance Fair. Check it out. Got to get tickets to that show. It's going to be a good one. I hear he's performing The Taming of a Moo.
Where's the rim shot?
What's wrong with that?
Bum.
It's a thing.
The Taming of Prince.
It's the classic
Amakamura.
comedic tale of a wide receiver, Brandon Marshall, who seeks to tame the headstrong, obdurate defensive back, Prince Amukamara.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Scripted.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to need for him to do well. I guess one thing they did find out against Denver is that they do have another pass-catching tight end that they didn't know about.
Wow.
Nick Vannett was supposed to be the guy who was going to catch a lot of balls this year. And in the game against the Broncos, Will Dissly.
That's right.
Rookie out of Washington.
Yeah, hometown boy.
Caught 4 balls. He had 4 catches.
I think so.
5 catches. But he showed that he can also catch the ball over the middle. And they're going to need it because they don't have a lot of people who can consistently catch passes.
3 balls for 105 yards and a touchdown, along with 66.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it. Good luck, Seahawks.
Probably the top free agent ad over the weekend. Waiver wire ad.
Kind of, you know what? This is another. This game is kind of important. I know it's only week 2. The loser of this game is 0-2.
Yeah,
that's much worse than being 1-1. 1-1, you're kind of like, that's not great, but we could probably work our way back.
Yeah.
0-2, boy, week 3 looks really big now because 0-3 is tough to come back from.
Yeah. The only difference is Seattle might have a better chance at doing something out of it in their division than Chicago might.
Really?
Yeah, because Green Bay and Minnesota we know are pretty good. Detroit, what we thought was going to be good, and they might still be good. Who knows? Could have just been some weird random thing that happened. But it looks like Arizona is no good at all. San Francisco, we still don't really know. Jimmy Garoppolo had a pretty bad game, so he could actually not be as good as we thought.
Could be.
Or it could have been Minnesota's defense. But the Rams look pretty good.
The Rams look pretty solid, yeah. Maybe.
Oh, boy. Breaking news. We haven't had this for a while.
We haven't had this for what happened?
Man. Honestly, I don't think many people care because there aren't. It's only the fans of good football that care.
Okay.
But there aren't many Los Diego San Angeles fans left. I don't know if you saw the game in Kansas City this weekend. It wasn't in Kansas City, but it looked like it was.
Yeah. You know what I did? I didn't see the game.
Yeah.
But I did hear that Dan Fouts went after Los Diego San Angeles fans for not showing up and supporting the team. Dan Fouts.
I'm saying there aren't any left.
Former San Diego Chargers Hall of Fame quarterback went after the fans for not showing up at the game.
That's going to get him back.
They called you out.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Anyway, Joey Bosa, his foot is not good. It's not in a good place. It's still in a boot. The plan is for it to remain in the boot for much longer than feet are usually in boots. That means that he won't be on the field.
Okay.
They're now saying he's out for this week against Buffalo.
Okay.
And possibly further on.
That's unfortunate, but let's you and I be honest with each other now. They're playing Buffalo.
No.
Do they need him?
It doesn't matter so much this weekend.
Okay.
But in future weeks it's going to matter, though this is what I thought you were going to say. Does it really matter? Because they're just going to screw it all up and miss the playoffs anyway.
That's probably true.
This team they've worn out their welcome in Los Diego, wherever the heck they're playing these days.
In a year and a week?
Nobody cares about them anymore.
You know what they gotta do? They gotta win games.
They need to move.
They gotta win games.
North to Portland.
No.
Give me some Chargers.
No.
Give me.
No.
Gimme.
No. Where's the buzzer? hit the buzzer. You are the worst soundboard operator.
There it is.
I don't want the Chargers here.
Why not?
That's somebody else's mess.
The Portland Chargers.
No. The Portland
Maybe
Chargers.
they could change it to the Portland Charge.
No.
Sponsored by PGE.
Sponsored by PGE.
Yeah.
No. I don't want them here. I don't want somebody else's team here. That's what it would be. I don't want somebody else's team.
I'll take them. We're not going to get our own team.
I am just as happy not having a team in Portland. And have you ever been to an NFL game?
No.
They suck. Okay? They suck. There's loud people around you that are swearing and jumping up and down. And I just want that. Just be quiet and let me enjoy the game.
I'm not sure what it would be like.
Peace.
It's weird. I never thought about what it would be like at an NFL game.
No, it's terrible.
Sounds terrible.
Terrible. People yelling, screaming. You don't ever have a good view. The players are really far away. You never see anything good. All the stoppages.
That's
Why
true.
aren't they playing? Well, TV timeout. But I'm here. It's not on TV. Yeah, we know. People who have season tickets to games, you're so weird, man. You're just so weird. The last bit of Quickie News that I have, Marshawn Lynch made the most Marshawn Lynch play ever.
That was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, the Raiders lost, obviously, and they got thumped pretty good in the second half. But in the first quarter...
The first score.
When it was still, a game, Marshawn Lynch takes the draw, runs about 7 yards upfield, gets stopped, we think, and then you see the legs start churning.
Oh, here he goes.
And then you see the Raiders' offensive line come charging in.
Yep.
Michael Brockers jumps in on the top of the pile, and they kind of all start leaning towards the goal
there's
line.
7 Rams on him, 5 offensive linemen on him.
And Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson's there pushing, and then
Yep.
out of nowhere, the rookie, Colton Miller, oh my goodness, the play's still here, just comes flying in, slams into the back of everybody, and they all fall down into the end zone, touchdown.
Yay.
That was great.
Raiders with the 7-0 lead.
And then they just kind of all piddled it away by the end of the game. That was the end. But for one
They
shining
were good
moment,
until halftime. They were good until halftime.
for one
It was a
shining
game.
moment. I had one problem with Marshawn Lynch, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how closely you were watching the game right at the beginning. There seemed to be one sequence where he made the corner. He got a handoff, and he made the corner, and he was looking to turn the ball upfield, and he saw Marcus Peters there. And instead of he was changing the arm from the inside right arm to the outside left arm, which is what you're supposed to do. And then instead of taking that free arm and
Stiff
arming Marcus Peters, he doesn't.
What did he do?
He just kind of kept his arm in, and then
Oh.
Peters kind of grabs him, and they fall down. And then it brings back. Do you remember was it last year when Lynch came running onto the field and grabbed Peters?
Yeah.
Because they know each other.
Yeah.
They're like boys, right? And he did it so that his guy wouldn't hit a ref.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking now, what is this? That you're like playing patty cake out on the sideline? What is happening? Come on. Anyway, no harm, no foul. I'll be honest with you, I was surprised the Raiders hung with them for a half.
Right?
Good job, Raiders, I guess. One thing I think we found out about the Rams, though, we figured out how you beat them, and you do it by getting the ball out and attacking the middle linebackers over the middle of the field.
That's true. I mean,
Problem solved.
yeah.
Now everybody else in the league, that's how you do it.
Carr's passes were out pretty quick.
Yeah, they need to be.
I was-
We'll talk about this a little more when we
Okay.
get to the Bears Packers game. But your passes need to be out quick because they've got a pretty fierce pass rush.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold the ball.
They weren't giving him much of a chance early on. I noticed because I was watching Colton Miller. I wanted to rewatch all of his snaps to see how terrible he was. And he didn't really have a chance to be bad because he got one tie-up with his rusher and then the ball was gone and there was no opportunity for the guy to put a move on him, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly
They
right.
came together and ball was out and then the
Yeah.
guy was running away.
I think Aaron Donald had one play, and it's when he fell down, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And then he launched into Carr's legs.
He got called on that,
They
roughing the passer.
Yeah, they called roughing the
Yeah.
pass, which was that's just the lamest call ever.
It should be a personal foul, if anything, because it's a dangerous play. You're not roughing anybody.
Okay, but honestly, just raise your hand if you have a problem with Aaron Donald launching in that situation, launching at a quarterback's knees. What are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to not launch at their knees.
What
Apparently.
are you supposed to? Are you
No,
supposed to not do
I
it?
agree with you.
Is he supposed to stand all the way up
but
and
they're
then?
trying to keep? Because it happens, and it's always an accident when it happens. Nobody's purposely jumping at the guy's knees to break his knees.
Well,
But you're jumping at the quarterback because you want to get the quarterback, and you just
Yeah.
happen to not be close enough to not get anywhere but the lower leg.
yes, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to dive
Yeah.
and you grab at shoelaces and legs.
Your
and
coach is going to get on
anything.
you if you're just like, well,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to hit his knees, so I'm going to go ahead and just watch him.
Yeah, in the film room. I can see that in the film room. I was
Yeah.
saving us the penalty, coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I think
No.
most coaches don't care about those penalties.
I can just, after watching Hard Knocks, can you see Greg Williams saying, "Oh, thank you"?
Unless it's 4th down and 13. Well, is it an automatic first down?
It's automatic first down.
Okay, so unless it's like a game-losing situation where you're basically giving the team the opportunity to win, just go ahead and do it. Because maybe you knock them out and then you get to face God knows who else.
All right.
A.J. McCarron.
Do we want to talk about the Bears-Packers game now at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll right into it.
Because we were interested in seeing how Khalil Mack would do. Turns out he's a really good football player.
Yes, he is very good.
And you saw that in the first half.
Yeah.
And they ended up knocking Aaron Rodgers out of the game.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers came back in the second half, thank goodness, because DeShone Kizer is bad at football.
He is a train wreck.
And when he came back in, Aaron Rodgers led them to a victory. And you were looking at it going, what happened? What was the difference between when he went out and when he came back in? And Chris Collinsworth, if you were listening, they're partnering up with PFF, with Pro Football Focus, and they're getting all kinds of like cool stats and metrics coming out now. In the first half, Aaron Rodgers was holding the ball for 3.5 seconds before he was releasing it. In the second half, 2.7.
Wow.
So the difference between a pass rush getting to the quarterback and not, about a second. Apparently.
Yeah, apparently so.
Because the offensive line suddenly looked like world beaters in the second half.
I wonder if it had a little bit to do with the play calling as well. They knew that Aaron wasn't going to be able to scramble around as much, so they had to throw out a lot more plays that were going to be quick hits.
Could be, but I wonder how much of it was just Aaron Rodgers understanding that he wasn't going to be able to.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to be able to shift.
It was a combination of things that definitely they knew what they had to do to stop the Bears from getting to him.
Yep.
Which, why would you not just do that immediately? But
yeah, maybe you should just do that from the start.
Stick to your game plan, I guess.
Maybe with both legs feeling good, you still do that.
Yeah.
That could be a thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
Because the Bears don't suck up. They don't suck defensively.
No.
They're pretty good.
Though apparently they can't catch interceptions.
I felt bad for that guy.
Ugh.
What's his name?
Cal Fuller.
Yeah. Oh, that was rough.
Game saver.
Yep, he had a chance to put the game away. Had the chance to put it on ice. Ball hit him in both hands. Just, what do you do? He didn't catch it.
He's a regular Amari Cooper.
Yes. Fortunately, he plays defensive back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So he doesn't have to do it all the time.
They were saying that last year, that happened to him 6 times.
Oh, my God.
2 picks for the season, could have had 8. That's the difference.
That's right. I remember hearing that because he would have tied with Kevin Byard for the league lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe somebody else.
So, again, what can I say? The jug machine, about 150 a day.
Get on it.
Just, that's what you do. From your knees, one knee, on your butt, jumping up high. You should just work on catching a ball. That'd be great.
This is your job now.
You're an NFL player. They're paying you in money.
He got the contract extension or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He was the guy. He was their big free agent that they needed to retain.
Anyway, congratulations to the Packers.
What a game. Yeah. And our fan of the week, Libertati Sum.
That's right. Good week to be a Packers fan.
Yeah. Let's get in. Let's change gears a little bit here. Let's talk about our fantasy league again. I know people love this.
Yes.
I assume people love it. We're going to go real quick here. We're going to talk about my game of the week last week. It ended up being a 119-124 defeat to the team I predicted as the league champion or the league favorite.
Yeah.
The Drop Bears fell to Fantasy Executive 119-124.
Now, I'm going to start right here. This is especially embarrassing because not only was this supposed to be the highest points produced this week,
the best team,
it wound up being the lowest points produced.
I totally put the podcast curse on him.
Yes.
And he asked me as such, midway through Sunday?
He did. And we were...
Why did you do this?
We didn't know. All we can say is we were not aware.
I picked a team that I liked, and I was complimenting it.
Yeah.
And apparently that's a bad thing to do.
So, anyway, look out for what happens this week.
Yeah. I won't get into the specifics too much. He had a chance to come back, and I promptly declared the comeback was on when Detroit got the pick 6 on Sam Darnold on the very first play of the game. Got onto Twitter as soon as that happened. Drop Bears having the comeback, and then, of course, Detroit falls apart.
So essentially...
So I'm not going to be talking about anybody except our opponent each week.
Essentially, you jinxed him twice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
He ended up losing by 6 points.
That would have done it.
5 points, whatever it is, yeah.
Oh, hey, can we just congratulate Sam Darnold really quick on throwing an interception on your very first regular season NFL pass? Pick six. That's the coolest thing. That is awesome.
That's Brett Favre-esque.
That really is.
Who was the other? There was one other guy that did it too, right?
Oh, was there?
I think so. I forget. Maybe it wasn't somebody as impressive. But...
I didn't hear about that. There probably has been.
Yeah.
But that's pretty awesome.
Former Jet Brett Favre and rookie Sam Darnold
Yeah.
pick sixes on their first throws.
Good news, you won the game by a lot of bit.
Yeah.
Right? Not even a little bit. You won it by a
Embarrassed
lot
the
of
team
bit.
that was looking toward the playoffs.
Yeah. The Lions got some thinking to do now.
Yeah.
Got to go back to the old drawing board and.
More on that to come later. We'll give an update on our team as well.
Oh, do we have to?
The Spring Chickens,
Okay.
loaded with sophomores and freshmen.
How we doing?
We did okay. We would have won our matchup had we played Patrick Mahomes instead of Deshaun Watson, who really, really made me angry. Well, really, Bill O'Brien made me angry.
Okay.
But I was a little frustrated with Deshaun. I don't know. Did you watch that game at all?
I watched it on TV. I didn't watch it on Game Pass.
So I don't know if you saw, every time they showed Deshaun when he was on the bench, he just looked sad and like, well, this is this. I guess I'm this guy now. I'm not good anymore.
Huh.
And I just was... First, I was upset as to why none of the coaches were talking to him, or he wasn't on the phone with his offensive coordinator. I guess he couldn't be on the phone with his offensive coordinator because his offensive coordinator is the head coach.
Yeah.
But with somebody, quarterback's coach talking him up, showing him some plays, showing him what he did wrong. Maybe they had that, but I would have expected that to be happening basically the entire game because you're playing the Patriots.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing it himself either. He just looked like a sad sack sitting there. So I'm a little worried about him.
I didn't notice that at all. Wow. Okay.
Not cool.
So are you? Well, you know what I did notice when they had that fumble when they had that mesh
his
fumble.
first play of the game.
Yeah. And it looked like, I mean, it was a quarterback mistake, but when the ball popped out and he didn't get to it right away, he had his face, he was like looking straight down.
I think that ruined his game.
Like,
I think that hit him hard for the entire game.
Yeah, he looked off.
He needs to let that go a little bit.
So are we going to look at playing Mahomes?
I'm thinking about it seriously.
Really? Man,
it's a tough one. We'll have to discuss it later.
Eek. Okay.
Game of the week this week. I'm not going to give.
We should really look at giving the like a real game of the week for last week because the highest scoring game was a good one, and actually it's the highest scoring game was between LA's Finest, which is J5's team, and the Gurdlers, which is
Superfan
Jonah's team.
Yeah,
and Jonah got hosed this week.
He really did
because
this happens. 209
points by J5.
Top in the league.
Top in the league. Jonah at the Gurdlers with 175.14 points. Second highest score in the league. A loss. That's the big L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll happen every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, if he would have played anybody else in the league, it's a W.
Yeah.
But no, he's running. I think he had his team out running sprints today.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
Yeah,
sometimes it happens.
Bad things happen to good people.
And Jonah, you're one of the good ones.
That's
another good game though happened with Tracy, manager of Let's Talk About Six Brady. I like that name. They'll color me bad. No,
what is that?
Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper. Yeah. There we go. Salt and Pepper.
Nice color me bad reference though. Nice, well done, son.
They talk about sex too. Let's Talk About Six Brady comes back from the deficit on the back of Todd Gurley to get the less than 1 point win.
That was...
Or maybe more than 1 point, but 137.98 to 136.36. So 1.5 point win.
1.5 points.
Beautiful.
Well done.
Game of the week this week. The Gurdler, he's back, versus Tomato Paste. What a great team name.
Tomato Paste.
I don't know what that's all about. At J_O_nah versus at Fashiggles.
Fashiggles.
Jonah's got some choices to make. He's got Matt Stafford or Andrew Luck. Two good quarterbacks, we thought. Stafford, do you play Stafford after that terrible performance? Andrew Luck, he did all right, but he's got a pretty good defense at Washington on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Washington held up nicely against Arizona. Now, I'm not saying
that's Sam Bradford, too.
I'm not saying that Andrew Luck is Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
But
they both also have terrible offensive lines, so that could be more of the deciding factor for anything.
The Lions are traveling to San Francisco. You know, I thought it was interesting that the Vikings, their entire game, I didn't see them go at Richard Sherman once. I think Matt Stafford will.
And he might pay for it. The other thing I don't like about the Stafford matchup is their offensive line didn't look very good against a not great pass rush of New York.
Yeah.
San Francisco's pass rush looked pretty good against Minnesota, who also has kind of an average offensive line. So it could be another bad week for the Lions.
It could be.
Not optimistic.
It could be rough.
Yeah.
It could be rough. I
think I'm playing Luck, though, if I'm Jonah. We'll see what he does.
I don't think the Niners tackle as well as
true.
The Jets.
Yeah.
So I was looking at their defense against the Vikings. There were a lot of guys wrapping up and falling down. And it's like, what is happening?
Everyone's coated in Crisco.
It's the dumbest thing. You know what? Okay, here's me on my soapbox. I'm just going to pull this out right now.
Get up there.
I cannot stand it when defenses can't tackle. It drives me batty. There's no excuse. All you have to do is tackle. You know what? I'm not even expecting you to hit him hard. All I want you to do is hit him and then don't let go. That's it. If he drags you 10 yards, he drags you 10 yards. You should probably do a better job of getting him on the ground.
Stick those cleats in the turf.
At least you're still holding on.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. I was watching the Niners, and dudes are... it was the linebacking core. It was like 2 or 3 different linebackers they had down there.
Nobody you've ever heard of.
Yeah, I hadn't... It's nobody that I remember the name of.
Yeah.
But it's just, they would come up, they would wrap up. You thought they were wrapping up. Their arms would extend around the body or the leg, and then they would just slide all the way to the ground and let go.
I think the main problem is that the San Francisco linebacking core is guys that would be second and third teamers on most other teams. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not... That's the one real... bad. It's worse than the Rams' linebacking core. We'll just put it that way.
But you've got to be, at some point, you've got to be able to literally, all you need to do is just not let go.
That's true.
That's it. It drives me nuts.
They probably don't deserve to be in the NFL. That's all I got to say.
The Niners?
No, the linebackers.
Oh, the linebackers. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Is it the whole team? Sweet.
No.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Isaiah Kasavinsky. Have I ever told you about Isaiah Kasavinsky? Do you know who Isaiah Kasavinsky is?
Composer? I don't know.
He, back when Mike Holmgren was coaching the Seahawks. So it would have been around 2002, 2003, something like that. He had a linebacker named Isaiah Kasavinsky. He played middle linebacker. And this guy was probably the smartest linebacker I've ever seen in my life. I never saw him out of position one time. He would be the first guy into every run gap that was put in front of him, right? He would instinctively know where the ball was going. He would put himself there, and without fail, he would get knocked on his butt every single time, blowed up, just killed. Just guys would come and smash into it. He would be right there, right place, right time, bam, get knocked over every single time. And it just goes to show, maybe that's what's happening in San Francisco. Maybe that's what's going on. It's like they have these guys, they're really smart, they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and they just don't have the body. They don't have the whatever...
Teeny tiny hands.
The
short arms.
testicular fortitude, tiny hands, small arms, whatever it is, they don't have it.
Bunch of T-Rexes.
Because Kasavinsky, if he had just a little bit of something, if he had just a little bit of NFL player body about him, he'd probably still be playing.
Wow.
That's how good this guy was. Also...
History lesson for all
you. I think he ended up on the Rams for like a split second, because at one point, Holmgren would like cut him every so often when he needed like an extra roster spot, and then he would like go and sign him later and bring him back in.
He's a CJ Spiller.
Kind of, yeah. And then one time he cut Kasavinsky, and they were playing the Rams, and the Rams signed him for a week, and then Holmgren got mad. He got all hurt, you know. Oh, they're trying to look at my signals. As if, you know, every single other team in the NFL does this, so why... Yeah, anyway. Enough. Isaiah Kasavinsky. Blast from the past.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about...
I got to talk about tomato paste.
Yes.
Tomato paste has Aaron Rodgers. Great quarterback to have, but is he going to play this week? A little bit of a question mark. You don't really know. I don't think they've said exactly what's wrong with his knee.
When do they have to, I guess? Is it
Friday?
Tomorrow? Or is it Friday?
It's tomorrow or Friday, I believe, so we might know by then. Bad news for tomato paste, though. His only other rostered quarterback is Baker Mayfield, so he'll be looking at the waiver wire if Aaron Rodgers goes down. The good news is our league has plenty of quarterback options to look at, including Joe Flacco.
Good numbers last week.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is out there, too.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen's still available as well.
And Josh Allen's starting.
Yeah. So that's my matchup of the week. I'm not going to predict a winner. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
You should put the hex on somebody.
Yeah.
Come on, do it.
I'm putting the hex on the SD Alliance team, captained by @Vague Fuel Supply. Mark.
We're playing him this week.
I'm pretty sure you're going to win, buddy. You're looking like a solid performer.
A world beater.
And you're playing a bunch of rookies and sophomores, so
yeah.
It's not looking good for the spring chickens.
It's really not looking good at all. No.
Not good. We'll keep you updated. We'll let you know how that goes next week. Stay tuned for another edition of TGBBPFFL breakdown. That wasn't right, but I just threw out some letters.
That is fantastic.
Week 1 letdowns.
Okay, this is the part of the show.
Last topic.
This is the part of the show where we're going to go through with all of the things we're disappointed with. We should really do a positive thing, like a positive spin. Not now, later.
Yeah, another time. Maybe
Okay.
next week when some good things happen.
Okay. All right. What do you got first?
I want to talk about some shocking disappointments, things that you thought were going to go a good way, and they ended up going very, very bad.
Okay.
First up, the New Orleans Saints defense.
That was something, wasn't it?
Coming up against the Jameis Winston-less
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
Well, I think what you mean to say is the very best team offensively
Yeah.
in the NFL.
Well, that's what I...
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean to say
Now that Jameis Winston isn't playing for them.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Man, that defense was a disappointment.
Was Fitzpatrick ended up with 4 touchdowns and then 1 rushing as well?
Yes, 4 passing touchdowns on 417 yards, 36 rushing yards, and a touchdown.
And that 417 yards is on 21 completions.
That's right.
So he had 21 completed passes, 417. So he was averaging 20 yards a catch.
Yep.
That's amazing.
You know what? The last time a quarterback broke 415 yards on 21 or fewer pass completions was...
Jim Plunkett.
No, Steve
19
McNair.
What? Really?
2003.
Actually,
That's the last time it's happened.
that's for the Titans then, yeah?
Yeah.
That's actually, yeah, I can see that. He had some games that were like that where he had like 12 completions for 500 yards or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? He did what?
How many games do you think Ryan Fitzpatrick has played in or started? You can pick whichever number you want.
Oh my gosh. Has played in or started?
Yeah.
You know, he was only a starter for like 4 years.
Over/under for games started is 100. Over or under?
Under. Way under. There's no way. Way under. I'm thinking like 60.
He has 120 starts
You are kidding
and
me.
134 games played.
Are you serious? 124?
120 starts. 134
120
games played.
120 starts.
Yeah. He's only hit 400 yards once.
120 starts. Where has he been? The
The
Jets,
Jets, the Bills, the Bucks.
the Bills. He started for the Bills for
Yeah,
a
I
long
think
time,
so,
didn't he?
yeah.
Was he? He was never with the Browns, was he?
Who wasn't?
Wow, 120 starts. Okay, all right.
St. Louis, though he didn't really play there. Cincinnati. Started 12 games for Cincinnati one year.
When?
That must have been a Carson Palmer year. That was 2008.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. That would have been.
Starter in Buffalo for 4 seasons. Houston.
Well, 4 seasons would be that'd be
Tennessee.
60, that'd be 64. Tennessee because okay, because Locker was there then.
9
wasn't
starts for Tennessee. You remember everywhere he goes,
he? The starting quarterback gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he finds a way to get in
Or gets suspended.
or gets suspended.
Either way is fine. And now, if this keeps up, Winston's not going to be able to come back in and start. He's going to be backing up
It's not going to keep going.
the Fitzpatrick machine. Chugga, woo, woo.
They were calling it Fitz Magic for week 1.
Okay.
I'm calling week 2 Fitz Tragic. Philadelphia defense is not going to be kind to him.
Now, here's the thing with... Okay, so he did this against the New Orleans Saints
Yes.
defense.
Who we thought was not outstanding, but a good defense.
I
Certainly
specifically...
not going to do that to Fitzpatrick.
I specifically thought their back end was pretty good. And apparently...
Not the talk of the town.
Yeah.
Lattimore looked bad. Ken Crawley looked bad. Who's the other guy? Marcus Robinson. Stephon Diggs' best friend looked bad.
But here, okay, let me ask you this. They obviously the
Marcus
numbers
Williams.
the numbers are amazing,
Yeah.
right? It's still 21 completions.
Yeah.
21. So out of how many offensive plays did they have?
Couple deep bombs.
Yeah. So is this a case of the secondary really looking bad, or is this just a couple of blown plays?
I think there were some bad coverages, but at the same time, they hit some really nice deep routes, and the pass rush wasn't there at all. He had a clean pocket on like 25 of his 28 dropbacks.
Oh, wow.
So he was able to wait for his wide receivers to get open and pick the right one.
And if your wide receiver is 20 yards downfield
Yeah.
when he's catching the ball, you should probably be able to get a pass rush on a guy.
So the problem to me lies more with Cameron Jordan and company not being able to get up on him.
That sounds...
And credit to the Tampa Bay offensive line, I guess.
Okay. All right, sure. Well done. J.R. Sweezy's not there, so maybe that's
Yeah.
part of the magic. You know, addition by subtraction.
That's one way to look at
We're gonna ship J.R. Sweezy back to Seattle, and he can suck there. And then in Tampa Bay, we're gonna find somebody new to plug in.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
What about you? What's your letdown?
My letdown this week, and this is, I shouldn't be let down by this. The Broncos beat the Seahawks. Now, the Broncos beat the Seahawks in Mile High.
Yeah.
So they were at home. They beat them by 3. So it's not like this was a runaway success for the Broncos. Although, if you would look at their Twitter fans, you would be surprised because you would think that they had just won the Super Bowl. Oh, we're back on top. We're back on our winning ways.
Where they weren't used to winning.
Von Miller is a hero. Okay, I guess perhaps you beat a Seahawks team that couldn't get out of its own way. You outscored them by 3. while also having 18 more offensive plays than the Seahawks did. You outgained them in first downs. Well, what was the line? It was
25-13, I believe.
25 first downs to 13. The Seahawks had 13 first downs and still almost beat you.
Yep.
Just keep that in mind.
Not good.
Bronco fan.
You know what else I heard? I think Seattle didn't get into Denver early and get acclimated to the elevation.
You know what? That's a myth. That's a myth.
Okay.
Just stop it. That's not a real thing.
People keep talking about it.
Maybe it's
it
a
must
real.
be true.
You know what? Maybe it's a real thing for basketball or for I don't know for
Soccer.
something else. Maybe for soccer. I can see it being a real thing for soccer. Keep in mind the NFL. You have to go balls to the wall for 6 seconds, and that's it. And then you get up and you rest for 40, and then you go again for 6 seconds. So it's not like you're just expending energy all the time, going crazy, right? So altitude, maybe you're a well-conditioned athletic machine. Maybe it doesn't affect you as much as people think.
We'll have to hear from somebody who knows. We'll have to get Russell on the phone here in a couple minutes.
He'll answer my calls, especially after I give him just a load of garbage because you know what? He got knocked down a lot in this game.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
There were a lot of things that he did specifically that I have not, as a Seahawks fan, I have not seen before. He is not as shifty as he used to be. He couldn't get away. He wasn't as elusive as he has been in the past. He's not doing as well as he has in the past, and they're going to need him to if they're going to have any success this year. The running game is still bollocks, right?
Right.
Carson and
Carson looks all right.
No, he looks fine, but he doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Who's the rookie?
Rashad Penny.
Thank you. Rashad Penny was non-existent. He had 7 carries for 6 yards, something like that.
Pete Carroll is openly admonishing him.
Yeah, it was
That's never good.
It was not great. They need to call both of them out. The offensive line played lethargic. You can't really expect anything more of them because they're bad.
Yeah.
The Seahawks did find themselves a brand new tight end.
Yeah, we talked about him a little bit ago.
We did. Yeah. So that's something, I guess.
They've got a great punter.
Yeah, that's the one thing that looked pretty good for the Seahawks. Michael Dixon outkicked Marquette King. I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
He outkicked pretty much everyone.
Pretty much everyone ever. He had 6 punts for 354 yards gross.
A stat that I picked up from Football Outsiders today, and it's not exact, but you'll get the gist of it. It was basically the second best punting performance ever. Mm-hmm. He had about 57 and some odd in net punting yards, which is second to some guy from New York Giants in '92 who had 59.
It's a good day. Unfortunately, when your MVP is a punter, you probably haven't done well.
No.
Yeah. So
definitely not.
So well done. That's my letdown of the week.
Sorry.
I was disappointed by that. And it really shouldn't be because that's, you know what? The Seahawks played exactly where they should have played. That's how good they are. And the Broncos, you should be ashamed of yourselves because you guys should have done better and you didn't.
Did you hear about the new head coaches this season so far?
I heard there was a lot of them.
0-7 to open the season.
That's a lot of losses for first.
That's all of them.
Now these are all the first. These are not first-time head coaches, but these are the new head coaches, right?
Though I'm not sure if any of them have been. Well, one of them has been for sure, yeah. So Gruden in Oakland, Frank Reich in Indy, Steve Wilkes in Arizona, Matt Nagy in Chicago, Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, Pat Shurmur in New York, and of course, Fat Patricia in Detroit. Who'd you think was going to win this weekend out of those 7?
You know, I didn't think Reich was going to win because I thought that he was thrown into a really bad situation. I didn't think Wilkes was going to win because I don't think he's ever going to win. Nagy, I thought was going to win. I could have seen Vrabel winning in Miami.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought Vrabel was going to win.
I think I picked Shurmur to win against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And they almost
You had
did.
them as their upset game.
You know, I didn't think Gruden was going to win. I thought Patricia should have won. I think I picked him too.
Patricia, definitely.
Because the Lions at home, I thought that the Lions had more talent.
Rookie quarterback, defensive head coach coming in, bringing in his key guy. Figured they'd put together something new on defense.
But apparently not. Who did you think was going to win?
I had Indy winning.
That was a tough one against Cincinnati, though, because it's Cincinnati is not a terrible. We've talked about this. They're not terrible.
I didn't think it was going to be a runaway victory, but I had confidence in Andrew Luck more than anything else.
Okay.
I thought he was, and I mean they played a good game. But since he's a tougher opponent than I think a lot of people expect, I like their defense. Obviously,
well,
I didn't like their offense.
Yeah.
So their offense came through for them.
Sometimes it does.
That's Andy Dalton, Alex Smith. Matt Ryan, same guy, just different color hair.
Yeah, Alex Smith beat Steve Wilkes. Of
That
course,
team looks bad.
yeah.
I thought they were going to be okay. I think their offensive line is a lot worse than I was expecting it to be.
I'm wondering if the Washington football team is maybe a little bit better than we thought.
They could be.
Because Alex Smith.
Yeah.
I wanted to call him Alex Cousins. Alex Smith really. I watched that game getting the condensed version. He played really well. He really did look like Kirk Cousins, but better. He looked faster. He was like more athletic Kirk Cousins, which is
Very
what we've been
mobile.
saying.
Yeah.
And to see it actually pan out exactly that way in real life is like, wow, that's exactly what I was expecting to see. They could be better.
The only problem with Washington is I don't like their wide receivers that much. Crowder, Doxson, and Paul Richardson aren't anywhere near what he had in Kansas City. I do like that Jordan Reed looks really good. Mm-hmm. Chris Thompson looks really good. I'm sad that Darius Geis is out.
I am too, but Adrian Peterson doesn't look bad.
Adrian Peterson looks pretty good too. That offensive line has been pretty strong for a couple of seasons, and they're full strength right now, so that should continue to be good.
Until they start
situation
getting dinged up.
AP.
Until they start getting dinged up.
Yeah.
That'll happen.
If they're one of the lucky teams that don't sustain a lot of injuries, with Adrian Peterson there, if he stays healthy, if the offensive line stays healthy, if Jordan Reed stays healthy, and Alex Smith is good enough to get his receivers the ball, I think it just comes down to, are they good enough to actually catch it?
Well, what's been interesting to me to watch too is it's taken him no time to acclimate.
Right.
It just walked in and just going. So
he's a true vet at this point. He knows what to do.
He's a true vet, and also I think those two systems, Kansas City and Washington's, their systems are very close, and they should be because they're both West Coast based, right? Yeah. That's where Andy Reid came from. That's where Jay Gruden's from. Yeah, that's his coaching tree. So it makes a lot of sense that that's how they would play. But just to see a guy, because usually, again, back in the bad old days, it was like if you get a new quarterback, even a veteran quarterback, it took 3 years. And you just had to, you got to get him into your scheme and coach him up. And now it's like, just, today we get traded from this team to that team, and tomorrow he starts and he goes and passes for 500 yards.
Yep. And
that's what we expect. So it's pretty incredible stuff.
That's right. What do you think about the Tennessee-Miami game, Mike Vrabel's performance? What happened there? Because I did not see that coming.
You know what? I didn't see that coming, and I'm ashamed to admit I did not watch that game. I didn't watch any version of that game.
Probably a smart move.
What I will say...
You didn't have 7 hours laying around to watch that game?
No, I did not have 7 hours. What I will say is that it's got to be disconcerting to go on the road and then to have... Because it was a 7-hour game. We're not making this up. The game took 7 hours from start to finish because they had 2 weather delays.
Yeah.
That has got to be so disadvantageous for the visiting team. Because you don't... It's all different, and nothing is where it's supposed to be at that point, and... For the home team, at least you're in familiar surroundings.
Yeah.
As the visiting team, it's just new, and it seems like it would be more pressure, and I think that's probably what happened. What did you think?
I'm a little worried about this team.
Oh, I saw Mariota is on the injury list now. How hurt is he?
It's an elbow thing.
Hey, throwing arm?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was down on the ground. He had to come out. They had to play Blaine Gabbert, so that's always great.
No.
Blaine Gabbert's the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just getting into games somehow everywhere he goes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, William Hayes jumped on him, and it looked kind of like a dirty play, but apparently he's come out and apologized to Mariota. Whether it was dirty or not, he apologized for it.
It doesn't mean it's not dirty just because you apologize for it. I mean, a lot of times I'm mean to you, and I apologize for it. It's like, I'm sorry.
I don't think you go through the trouble of saying, sorry, I purposely jumped on you. Just in the moment. Okay. Anyway, Mariota's hurt again already. That's not good. Already had to come out of the game. They lose their number one offensive weapon in Delaney Walker. Mm-hmm. Defense didn't look good. Wasn't able to keep Ryan Tannehill off the board. Kenny Stills lit him up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
This is a Jarvis Landry
it's week one, so too. It's week one, so okay. A lot of things can happen in week one, and you can get thrown off of the scent.
I'm gonna give both those teams kind of a pass because it was wonky, right? Yeah.
Who else? New coaches. Who else? Detroit. Or what are the Lions going to do? Was it an aberration?
During the broadcast, they showed Bill Belichick's coaching tree. And it was so funny because they showed it on the screen, and they showed all the coaches, and it showed their records too, right? None of them are above 500. None of these guys on the coaching tree are above 500. Nobody mentioned, because they've got the stats up there on the graphic. Not one person said, wow, those guys can't coach at all, which was the right thing to say, right?
Yep.
Not one person said that. All they said was, you see how many people he's really transition to head coaches in this league.
Yeah.
You're like, they all suck. So I don't know. Out of all the coaches that have coached with Bill Belichick, there's two that I love. Nick Saban is one.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Saban is a different case, I think, than a lot of the other coaches. Nick Saban, of course, coached with Belichick when he was in Cleveland.
Much younger.
Yeah, and honestly, at the time, Saban was the defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and they obviously they have a rapport, but he didn't come up under Bill Belichick.
Right.
He came up under other people, and they just happened to work together for a few seasons. Saban in Miami was a joke, but clearly he's done okay at Alabama.
He's just a college guy.
Yeah, which
And
is
that's
fine.
fine.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But he's the one guy who's done well. Nobody else has done well
Not good.
off that tree. Matt Patricia was my shot. I was calling my shot. Matt Patricia's going to be the guy. I got to stick with it.
Going into the situation, that team looks good, primed to be good.
You know what? This was a thing that happened. They're going to go. They're going to fix it. It's going to be fine going forward.
That's what you think. That's what I'm thinking too.
I think I just put the kiss of death on Matt Patricia right here. Ugh. It could get bad. I mean, I thought that they did all the right things. I thought Jim Bob Cooter did enough to be able to keep his job as OC. I had no problem with that. I thought Patricia was going to get better defensive play than he did. You shouldn't have to stop 14-play drives all the time, but you should be able to stop one or twice. You should be able to flip the field somehow.
In defense of the Detroit defense and how it could still be a legitimately decent to good defense is Baltimore last year in the London game looked absolutely dreadful against Jacksonville and still had one of the top defenses in the league. It can happen one time. Everything can go wrong.
I guess the difference there is that it was in London.
Yeah,
and this was
that's true.
at Ford Field.
Yeah.
So,
As much as you hate the argument about playing at altitude, I hate the argument about playing in London just as equally. I think it had absolutely nothing for me.
You know what?
I think it would be easier
And
than playing at home and the pressure of being in front of your home fans.
right? I mean, honestly, there's a lot to be said for that.
It probably feels like an exhibition more than anything else.
Honestly, also, yeah, it's in London. You carry all of your stuff with you. I mean, this isn't like you and me traveling to London. You're going with an NFL team. You're bringing all the comforts of home with you.
Yep.
You're not staying at a bed and breakfast. You're not staying, at Podunk Shotgun Motel down the street.
Piccadilly Inn Express.
Whatever. You're staying at someplace decent. And you've got all of your own food, I'm sure, and you've got all of your own chefs cooking it for you. These are all the comforts of home that you're bringing with you.
I haven't heard anything about the London games, the international games this year. I'm sure they're having them again, but I haven't heard, because aren't they supposed to? They were supposed to play at Tottenham's new stadium, which isn't done yet. So Spurs are still going to playing in stupid Wembley.
Yep.
Ugh, that's a whole other thing for our Premier League podcast.
The Jags, right?
Yeah.
The Jags are going.
Yeah,
Which makes sense because Khan owns the...
that's right. Fulham.
Fulham, that's right. Yeah. So it makes sense for them to go over there. I mean, I would like to do that if I owned that team too. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Nice.
Why not?
I absolutely agree with you. Traveling to London shouldn't matter. It just... Because both teams are doing it.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting, a home field advantage from a time zone perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it's really kind of... To blame your loss on that, on traveling... You're an NFL player. You travel. That's your job.
So in this roundabout way, I think that, yes, Detroit has a chance to bounce back. Their defense could still show good. Patricia could look like the first successful head coach from the Bill Belichick twig.
Yeah.
And we're well on our way to the Lions going to the playoffs after opening the season dreadfully. So that's it for Week 1 letdowns. We can move in now to everybody's favorite segment, Lose the Farm. Why don't we get started with what happened last week, first of all?
I'm even. I'm good. I'm 8-8.
8-8 to my 6-10.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with you.
I took some reaches. Week 2. Run it down for us. Let's hear what we got.
Okay, Baltimore at Cincinnati. Baltimore is favored by 1.
All right. I'm a Baltimore guy.
You are a Baltimore guy.
But this is my upset special.
Okay, now I'm going to make you say why.
Because Baltimore is not good versus Cincinnati.
No.
Recently, Andy Dalton in his last 10 matchups with Baltimore is 7-3, and the Bengals have won 5 of the last 6 in Cincinnati.
Oh wow.
This one's in Cincinnati as well.
Okay. All right. That's a good reason.
I think the Ravens are the better team, but they consistently have been doing this where they lose to the Bengals.
It's
and
hard.
I don't like it.
It's hard to tell right now because the Ravens won last week, but they beat Buffalo.
It was Buffalo, and that's what I felt the entire time. I was like, oh, this is so good. But then I kept remembering, it's like, but Buffalo's the worst team that's ever existed, and this is not going to last, and it's surely going to come down, fall off, drop off a cliff, and then they'll right the ship, and they'll stabilize somewhere in the middle.
We're going to talk about Buffalo a little bit later, but I wouldn't say Buffalo's the worst team ever, but if they're not the worst team, they're right there with them. They're very close.
When Nate Peterman plays, they are the worst team ever.
That's not a good look for them.
Yeah.
I've got Baltimore. Next up, Carolina comes into Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 6.
I think Atlanta's going to win this.
Are you picking them to beat the spread?
I'm picking Atlanta to win by 7.
Okay.
Or
all
more.
Right. So coming off a beat down by Philly.
I looked at Carolina and Atlanta's matchups over the recent history as well, and I think Atlanta's got 3 of 4 wins, and they're all over 6-point wins as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I also am taking Atlanta, so yes. The Chargers traveling all the way from the West Coast into Buffalo. Chargers are favored by 8. 8.
Not a problem. Easy win.
Really? Okay. Here's the thing. We've talked about this last year, too.
Yeah.
Traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast for morning games is a problem for teams. Watching Buffalo play against the Ravens last week, what I noticed was that the Buffalo defense is not terrible.
No, they're pretty good.
When Josh Allen got into the game, he was able to do some things that Nate Peterman was not able to do.
Against Baltimore's second-string defense. Maybe third string.
Also, here's the part that really holds them back. From what I was saying, that is probably the worst punt team performance I've ever seen.
That was pretty
in an NFL game.
Atrocious.
Buffalo was just terrible. They couldn't cover anybody. They couldn't recover muffed punts. All of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think Buffalo is as terrible as we all think they are. Leslie Frazier is a heck of a defensive coordinator. And I think if they can keep it close, what killed them against Baltimore was just the score just kept revolving.
Right.
It was 27-0 at halftime, or something like that. It was a score similar to that. I am taking Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo, and not to win, but to cover the spread.
Wow.
8-point spread.
How dare
Buffalo
you.
to cover.
You'll see. You'll all see.
Minnesota traveling to Green Bay. The line is even.
I'm going with Green Bay, and I'm reserving the right to change that
Should.
if it's Deshaun Kaiser under center.
Ditto.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say to you. I will not put money on Deshaun Kaiser to do anything.
I have faith in the Green Bay secondary. I think it's only going to continue to get better as the season goes on. They did a good job against Trubisky. Granted, that might not be the biggest feat, but I think they can hold their own against Kirk Cousins too.
So question for you now. With Deshaun Kaiser in the lineup, do you think it was a good thing that they traded for him, or would you rather have Brett Hundley?
I'd probably rather have Rex Hudler at this point. He'd have another year in the offense. He still won them some games. I don't think Deshaun Kaiser wins them any games.
So let me get this straight. It was the critical 4th year that really put it all together.
Well, it's like McCarthy said. He hasn't had enough time.
Right. Okay.
This was that magical.
This was the magical
that
enough.
Was that cutoff.
This was it.
In the Mike McCarthy system, you need 4 years.
Right, that's what it takes.
As a quarterback.
As a quarterback, it takes 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's only in year 3.
Does Green Bay win a game if Deshaun Kaiser's the quarterback?
No.
No, of course not. They won games last year with Brett Hundley.
They did.
So
they did.
Yeah, they definitely would not. No.
Okay.
No. Get out of. No.
Stop it. Houston travels to Tennessee. Houston's favored by 1.
Deshaun Watson with the big bounce back game takes them the distance. Win in Tennessee. Divisional matchup.
It is a divisional matchup. That's one of the reasons why I'm taking Tennessee.
No.
This is basically a pick'em game.
Yeah.
I'm going with the home team. I don't think, again, I didn't see the Titans play against the Dolphins, but I don't think the Titans are that bad. It worries me a little bit with Mariota's arm, that he's a little gimpy, but he's a gamer. I don't think Gabbert's going to get the start.
No, probably not.
I really don't.
But if Watt or Clowney or Merciless gets up on Mariota at all, he's going down. And then it's Gabbert time.
That is a thing that could happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Cleveland traveling down to New Orleans. New Orleans favored by 10.
Got to think New Orleans put something together.
Yeah, but I thought New Orleans was going to put something together last week against Tampa Bay when they were favored by 8.5.
You know what's interesting to think about, and now I'm kind of rethinking this whole thing. Tampa Bay's got some good deep threats. Josh Gordon is a deep threat, and then Jarvis Landry is a little Mike Evans-esque, not in stature, but just a reception, possession receiver type of guy. Could be trouble.
Could be, but keep in mind that Taylor only completed 15 passes last week, so
he's never been a high. He's been a high percentage completion guy, but he's never been a high completion guy.
Yeah, I'm going to go New Orleans. I'm
taking New Orleans.
Okay.
I hope I'm not wrong.
Miami travels to New York Jets. The Jets are favored by 2.5.
I think Miami's going to win this one.
I'm taking the Jets.
I don't know.
You know what? The Jets at this point, the Jets are going to have to prove me wrong. They're going to have to lose some games, and then I'll.
Are you riding them?
I am. You know what?
Ride them to the wind.
Sam Darnold is the next coming. He is the next Joe Willie Namath. Kansas City goes to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 4.
More recently, I feel like Pittsburgh has had the tendency to play to the competition, as evidenced by the tie with the Cleveland Browns this week. I think they're going to play up to Kansas City and end up beating them in a shootout.
That would be fun to see. I am taking Kansas City because I think in a shootout, the Steelers don't win.
Really?
Also, I thought
they haven't won a couple of these previous shootouts.
I thought it was interesting, too, that Le'Veon Bell's name is no longer on the depth chart.
Yep.
So they are not expecting him back this week. I don't think it matters.
James Conner looks pretty good.
Does he?
Well, he looks good in the Steelers system.
He looks, you know what? He looks fine. He looks like a competent running back.
Do you care about Le'Veon Bell anymore if you're a Steeler?
Well, no.
Do you just let him go?
You don't let him go.
Well, he's going to be a free agent next year, whether he comes back or not.
Well, not if he doesn't come back in time. You know what?
They're just going to franchise him again?
At this point, if he comes back in a way that makes it so I can keep him for another year, if he can't get his 6 games in, I would do that to him. You know why? Because I'm spiteful like that. That being said,
none of the team wants him there anymore.
That being said,
half the offensive line would rather he left.
Once he gets the ball in his hands and then he runs for a touchdown and they score and win, everything's fine.
They're doing it already.
They're not. They tied.
Well, but the running back is doing.
They tied Cleveland.
The running back is doing the exact same thing.
The Browns held them to a tie. They couldn't beat the Browns. You know who the last team is that didn't beat the Browns? I don't either. That's how long ago it was. It was forever ago.
They should have beat the Browns, though. It was a field goal. And Le'Veon Bell doesn't help them win this game either.
But it was a field goal both ways. The Browns had a chance to score a field goal, too.
Le'Veon Bell doesn't help them win this game either, though, because Ben Roethlisberger threw 4 interceptions. This one's on him, not the running back.
Well, and I agree with you. So let's just talk about Connor, though. I mean,
they don't need Le'Veon Bell. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, but you don't need a running back to win games. No, you don't. You don't need a running back to win games.
So save yourself $15 million, spend it on the defense.
But you got to spend it somewhere. I think you spend it.
And the offensive line.
I think that's where you spend it. You spend your money on the offensive line because here's a little pro tip for you. If guys are blocking for you, it doesn't really matter who's running the ball, does it?
No.
Oh, that team's 3 deep at running back. No, they're not. They just have an offensive line that opens huge holes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you've got 3 good running backs. Trust me, the second 2 are garbage. Okay. It's just that they're going through these gigantic holes.
I'm a James Conner believer. You are not.
I don't care is the thing. I mean, I think he's probably just fine. I don't think he's great.
No, he's not a superstar, but I think in Pittsburgh, the way they run the ball and the way they play football, I think he would be just as successful.
I think he's probably, I think you're right.
Maybe he doesn't have the catching skills.
He's Mike Davis to Terrell Davis. That's seriously. I mean, he's Mike Davis to Terrell Davis. When Terrell Davis went down, they had Mike Davis, and Mike Davis was fine. And people were like, why do you need Terrell Davis? Well, the reason you need Terrell Davis is because he does special things.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell does special things. Cook? What is it? Connors? I don't even know who his guy's name is.
Don't act like you don't know him.
The point is, I don't think he does special things. We'll find out.
We'll find out, yeah.
Or, maybe we won't, depending on when Le'Veon Bell comes back. In this week, Chiefs win. That's what I'm going with. Okay. Philadelphia travels to Tampa Bay. Philadelphia is favored by 3, even though Tampa Bay blew out New Orleans 48-40.
Real defense, real pass rush, real win, Philly style.
I think so. I think Philly goes down there and beats them up a little bit.
It's tragic.
So we're both going with Philly. Indianapolis travels to Washington. Washington is favored by 6.
This one was tough for me. I really want Indiana to come back and do well, Indianapolis. But I think it's still going to take a little bit more time. Washington's got a pretty stout defense. Their offense looks good. Indy's defense doesn't look that great. I'm taking Washington.
All those things that you just said, I agree with all of them. I really want to see Frank Reich's system come to fruition. I want to see Andrew Luck be successful.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's this week.
I'm wondering kind of if it's going to take a year even, and he might want his own coordinators instead of Josh McDaniels guys.
I mean, I think that's valid.
So hopefully they give it to him if he doesn't have success this year.
I worry a little bit because it feels like if he doesn't have success this year, it feels like they might be off looking for somebody else. This doesn't, because he took this job so late It just doesn't. He isn't their guy.
A panic hire.
Yeah, he is not their guy. He's not their first choice. He's going to need to do something to be successful. I like Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich can be a heck of a coach, but I just don't know if this is going to be a good fit for him.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Arizona travels to Los Angeles to play the Rams. The Rams are favored by 13.5. That's the largest spread this week. Basically 2 touchdowns.
Feels low.
I also have the Rams.
I'll take him at 21.
I don't know if I take him at 21, but I'll take him at 13.5 for sure. I watched the Washington-Arizona game, and I am not impressed with Arizona on either side of the ball.
Wow, I know.
And I know I've been talking bad about Steve Wilkes forever. That defense is porous.
It was not good.
And I don't understand for a guy who's supposed to be, bringing in a stout defense.
Right, and there's guys all over the field that have talent.
There's a
individually.
lot of talented guys out there. Yeah, I was really not impressed.
Yeah,
I was not impressed with.
I was not either. I picked them to win. I thought they were going to win that game. Washington.
Yeah,
going all the way across the country.
That's not how it works. East to west is fine. I've been telling you this all year.
They flew west.
They did.
They took the long way.
No, that's not
they
what
flew
they
east.
did. Yeah,
Look,
they
the
flew
Great
east
Wall.
to go west. I'm not impressed. Also, did you watch the game? Did you watch the condensed version?
I didn't watch it closely.
Did you see Sam Bradford got hit like 2 times? Man, he went flying. So it's only a matter of time before Josh Rosen gets in the game.
It's not going to last long.
This could be this week could be the Rams defense that we thought we were going to see.
Oh, we're definitely
at the beginning of the
see
season.
a dismantling of violent.
Yeah,
lots of blood. It's Arizona. You better wear red.
Because I don't think McCoy is going to.
Mike McCoy, offensive coordinator for the Cardinals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be as into making things fast as Gruden was. I think this could go sideways really quick. So we'll see.
Oh, boy.
We'll see.
4-yard slants. Just
so
do it.
LA, we're both picking LA.
Yeah.
Both picking the Rams. Detroit comes into San Francisco. Detroit traveling halfway across the country.
Yep.
San Francisco favored by 7 points.
I'm going to go with Detroit just to beat the spread. I think they still lose by 3 or 4. I don't think they figure it out yet. I don't like their offensive line. I felt like the 49ers put together a pretty decent pass rush against Minnesota last week. I think it still has to come together. I think Jimmy G has a good game.
Okay. I can see all those things. Last week, Richard Sherman didn't get tested at all, which really surprised me. Dude's coming off a blowed up Achilles.
Yeah.
I would have thought somebody would have thrown the ball at him. Kirk Cousins clearly has no testicles. I think Matt Stafford does.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go after Richard Sherman. I think, you know what? I want to see it because I want to see whether his ankle's good or not. I think it is.
They did have one play. They threw at Diggs, who had beaten Sherman, and Cousins overthrew him.
So he saw that he had him like wide open.
And they didn't go back to it.
He like panicked.
Yeah.
And overthrew him because and choked. Well, hey man, you know what? That's how the vets do it. I think that San Francisco is going to outright win this game. I think they're going to do it by more than 7.
Okay.
Oakland traveling to Denver. Denver favored by 6.
I kind of wanted to pick Oakland here. I liked what I saw from them in the first quarter. I'm throwing out the second or the first half. I'm throwing out the second half.
Okay, the whole half though, not just the quarter.
No, sorry.
Okay.
I liked what I saw from them in the first half. They kept the number 1 offense at bay. They withstood the defense. They scored some points.
Yeah.
They had the lead.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think Denver's defense is not as good as St. Louis's. Is not as good as Los Angeles's.
There we go.
But I'm having to go with Denver.
You know what? I like what you said. I think that Oakland probably performed better than they should have in that first half against the Rams.
Do you think they caught the Rams off guard a little bit?
I think they just played above themselves. I don't even think they caught anybody off guard. I think they just did better than they should have.
Everything clicked.
Yeah. I don't think that they can have that level of play for an entire game. I don't think they would need to beat Denver. I don't think Denver is that good. Mm-hmm. That being said, it's a big point spread. 6 points feels like a lot. I'm going to take Denver to cover.
Man, I was disappointed by Derek Carr, what I saw from him in those interceptions, too. I don't know what was going on there, but I don't really have confidence that it won't happen again at this point.
No, well, that's the thing, because Derek Carr is a fine quarterback, but he's not top half, is he?
Well, he looked amazing that 1 year. And he kind of started to look like he was turning a corner and he was going to be an elite quarterback. And then last year happened with the injuries and just still a good season. But then last night happened, or whatever you want to call it.
But if you take Derek Carr's entire body of work, where do you put him in the league? Top 10? Does he fall outside of the top 10?
Sometimes I just like to let the fantasy draft speak for itself.
Okay.
And in 12-team leagues, I'm not seeing Derek Carr being drafted or being drafted as a backup, like a 1-week bye-week filler.
That sounds right.
And so I think there's your answer right there. And maybe some of that has to do with the fact that everybody just is on the hating John Gruden for ruining the Raiders bandwagon. But I think some of it has to do with the fact that Derek Carr is a guy who's only 1 year removed from a fantastic season, and nobody has any confidence that he can put anything together.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things going into that. I think a lot of it is he has no tools. There's no great deep threat. He had Crabtree, and Crabtree was fine, but he was never dominant like that.
Jordy Nelson's kind of touted as a deep threat, but he's old and he's coming off a lot of injuries over the last couple of years, so is his speed gone?
Well, not only that, but I think Jordy Nelson is barely an upgrade over Crabtree. I think they do a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
I've never seen Jordy Nelson as a deep threat. I don't understand that at all. When people say he can get downfield, I don't get that at all. He doesn't look fast to me.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe I'm being racist. Maybe it's because he's white. It could be.
Yeah, well, they picked up Martavis Bryant.
They got him. Yes, we didn't bring that up.
He was a free agent.
Martavis Bryant is a free agent now, and the Raiders brought him back. Thank goodness somebody cut Martavis Bryant and made him available for the Raiders to bring back into the fold.
Yeah.
Well done, John Gruden.
I would have probably traded a third-round pick for Bryant, so to pick him up off of free agency is a good deal.
A boon.
Yeah.
Reggie McKenzie, high five.
Smart move.
So stupid. Gosh, those people are just idiots. Even more reason, I'm taking Denver.
Yes.
Denver by 6.
There we go.
New England travels to Jacksonville. This is a pick'em game. I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's
This
impressive.
is a pick'em game. So Jacksonville at home against New England. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Jacksonville to get revenge from the AFC Championship game 1 year ago.
You know what? This has got a lot of the same. It's not the same feel, but this could be
a big time game.
This could be the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got New England written down, but I was doing some. How do you want to say? I was down visiting my folks just right before we came to the podcast.
Yeah.
My dad watches the Weather Channel religiously. There is a hurricane
That's right.
coming into the East Coast. Carolina is looking to get hit pretty hard.
Right.
Now, this is quite a ways north of Jacksonville, but I'm wondering if it gets a little bit wet.
Shoddy weather.
Yeah. And then maybe the wet field, maybe that slows things down. Maybe that works in Jacksonville's favor.
Which is interesting because New England is the wintry team. You would think it kind of would be not their bread and butter, but they would be used to it.
I think a slow track favors the defense.
But yeah, in this situation, these teams, the team makeups.
Yeah. I am changing my pick. I am going to it's an even line.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Jacksonville
Pick
to
your
win.
winner. There we go.
So we're going to agree on this one.
Close game. Come down to the final possession.
I think I don't see why any one team would get ahead.
Do you think?
Too much.
Do you think it comes down to Bortles making a play?
No.
Do you think it comes down to Jacksonville hitting a field goal?
I think it comes down to what I think it comes down to? TJ Yeldon getting a first down.
Really?
That's what I think it comes down to.
It's not going to be a defensive stop initially. It's going to be them getting the ball back with some time and running out
and
the
they've
clock.
got to run the clock out.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think that they're going to get the clock back. It's going to be a 4-minute drill. Jacksonville's got to find a way to burn 4 minutes, and it's basically it means you're going to have to go on a drive. You're going to have to put 6, 7, 8 plays together. New England's probably going to have a couple of timeouts they're going to burn. They're going to have to go through the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
TJ Yeldon is going to have to carry the load because Leonard Fournette's going to be out. So
I like it. 20-17.
That's a good score. Yeah, that's a good score. Giants traveling to Dallas. Dallas favored by 3.
This was tough, man. Sometimes I feel like New York should be pretty good.
I think they should be good a lot of the time.
Sometimes I think then I see Eric Flowers play football.
Did you see him trip that guy? It was the first play of the game. That was the best thing ever.
I'm thinking of the Calais Campbell rush. Calais throws Eric Flowers out of the way, and Eric Flowers looks like he's on ice skates. He is that far off balance.
I didn't see that.
Look for that one. I'll see if I can find it. Maybe I'll retweet it. If you haven't seen that, it is hilarious, and it is sad.
Did you? Eric Flowers' first play of the game, he got flagged for tripping. Did you see that?
I remember that call being
This guy,
called.
they've got a great GIF of it that was going around Twitter. It's an overhead view, and you can see Flowers. He kicks out, and the guy rushing him takes a hard inside line, and Flowers is already so far out of position. The only thing he has left is his left leg, and he throws it out at the guy. It's like, oh my goodness, that's an NFL player doing that. That's amazing.
I think I'm going to go with Dallas.
That's the reason why. It's in Dallas, and Dallas is favored by 3, and that's enough. Seattle traveling to Chicago.
the Monday night game.
Chicago's favored by 3. Chicago is going to cover.
I think they're going to figure it out.
I think probably so. Nobody is better at extending a play than Russell Wilson, and I think he's going to end up eating the football. I think it's going to be bad.
Well, you know what? When he's played the Rams more recently, since Aaron Donald has really come onto the scene and the defense has really stepped up, as soon as he starts running, he gets in more trouble than if he just throw the ball away immediately.
Yeah.
And now with Khalil Mack in the situation, Roy Robertson-Harris is looking pretty good. Roquan Smith is probably going to get up to his snaps get upped a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Akeem Hicks is up there on the defensive line too. I think you're right. Wilson can get into a lot of trouble if he starts trying to run around too much. The only good news is he might not get punished with interceptions.
Just keep throwing the ball at Fuller.
Possibly just a lot of Michael Dick. I hope we see a lot of Michael Dixon because I'm having fun with this guy.
You know what? He has been pretty fun. I hate losing John Ryan off the Seahawks, but
Yeah.
this Dixon kid looks pretty good. So that's it. Those are your picks. That's Lose the Farm for this week.
So we'll be back next week. If you have something you want to hear us talk about, if you have some questions for us, if you want some fantasy football recommendations, Jay, who's your fantasy play this week?
My fantasy play is whoever you tell me the fantasy play is. That's what I'm going with. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's your fantasy play.
Josh Allen's my fantasy play.
Against Derwin James.
Against the Chargers.
Man, Casey Hayward.
Coming all the way from the West
Melvin
Coast to
Ingram.
the East Coast. That's right.
You're
Against
crazy.
all those guys.
You're crazy.
Also, he's going to have to throw the ball because the Chargers are going to be ahead the whole game. He's going to have to get back in.
Man.
He's going to have to force the ball. 18 points.
For me, not really a deep cut or anything like that. Some people probably know about him, but Chris Thompson, running back for the Washington football team. I love what this guy does. I think he's going to have a good game against a pretty bad Indianapolis defense. Look at him if he's available. Look at Chris Thompson if he's on your bench. Think about putting him in.
Even though he's splitting time with AP.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, I'm JB.
And I'm TK.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.